We're told the changing room can be a difficult place to speak about your emotions, but today that's what we're going to be doing here at the Kassam Stadium, because Oxford United have welcomed some people with close connections to the football club to come and share their own stories around mental health and loss. And we'll be doing it in here.
I'm Sharon. I'm Jack's mother. He took his own life.
I'm Luke Beauchamp and my brother Joey took his own life.
I'm Will and I lost both my granddads to suicide.
I'm Andrew and I work for Oxfordshire Mind.
Jack was such a lovely guy, everybody's friend, everybody loved him, mad into his football, an all-time everybody's hero.
He was quiet, reserved, I would say misunderstood at times because he was so quiet, but he was caring, loving and great to watch on the football pitch.
They were both amazing grandparents, spent a lot of time with them. Grandad Howell was really kind and gentle and had all the time in the world. And then we had Grandad Tom, who was more boisterous, let us misbehave when my mum and dad were away. He was single and drove a red motorcycle that I'll never forget sitting on the back of.
Football meant everything to Joey, who grew up with it, obviously played for Oxford, loved playing, loved being idolised, and he missed it dearly when it ended. He always had struggles with certain things. He had his demons, like most people do, but certainly when his football career ended, that's when I think he was trying to find himself. Obviously, when all you knew was football, to go back to normality after that was difficult for him. It's been really difficult to deal with, and have I spoke about it as much as I probably should have done? No, but that's still something that I'm still dealing with. But yeah, it was devastating, still is, and you know it's changed our lives forever.
Luke, you said you perhaps haven't gone and got as much help or spoken about it as much as you potentially should have. Yeah. Is that because do you feel like there is still, people do say, oh, go and speak to someone and get help, but do you think that there is still a stigma attached to talking about mental health? Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. I've probably spoken more today about what's happened than I have to friends and family. I wasn't comfortable speaking to people I knew, and I think they weren't comfortable speaking to me, but speaking to a stranger helped massively, just to let some thoughts out.
Men like my granddads didn't talk, and that's why they're not with us anymore, and they never got to see my kids or me play football, my sister become a doctor or whatever. They didn't see that because they didn't feel that they could speak up. Suicide is still seen as a taboo, so no one wants to talk about it. It's a completely different grief. It needs more help because there's so many questions. We have questions that will never be answered. You always look at what could we have done, could we have stepped in at this point, that point. What if they'd have just spoke to us, which is in my situation. If they'd have just come out and said how they're feeling, we could have channeled them to the support.
My eldest son passed away 8 years ago and that was a car accident, and it is a completely different situation with Jack. How did I not see the signs? I'm his mother, I should never think about him. He's my little boy. There must have been signs. I could have stopped it, I could protect him.
We need to stop suicide being the answer. It can never ever be the answer. We're in this situation because we've lost people to suicide. Let's stop losing people, then we wouldn't be here. The way to stop that is to get people to speak to the right people at the right time.
I don't think it's chipping away at that, isn't it? It's asking again, it's keeping doing that, and if lots of people do that, if everyone does that, then that provides that greater opportunity for someone to not just say, oh, I'm fine. It's that kind of culture change, and it's larger, and even if that means then that someone does feel more comfortable talking to a stranger, so they're encouraged to go and do that.
I'd had an arrangement with Joey at the time because he was struggling so much. I would ring him or message him most days, and if he didn't reply to me, I had a key to his house, and I'd give him a few opportunities to reply. If he didn't, I would go around there and let myself in. And unfortunately on that day, I found him there. We knew he had problems, but it was a different situation because we couldn't get him the help. So we tried all the mental health support places, and the problem was, they said, unless people want help, if they want help, they have to ask for it. And Joey was not in a position to ask for help, and he never was. So what do we do with someone that isn't prepared to ask for help? Do we just forget about them?
I think by you raising that and doing what you're doing, you know, that starts to help with that, and that is a bigger question and a bigger challenge to try and meet. And it sounds like what you're in is like an impossible situation, and you tried and you did what you could, and you're all speaking today and trying to raise that awareness and say, well, listen, this is where people aren't getting that help. For someone who's more receptive, it's different. That's an amazing start. It probably doesn't feel like that for you, given what you've been through, but it can potentially do something if we get some momentum behind it.
You will say the wrong thing sometimes, like you don't get everything right, you might touch a nerve that you didn't mean to, but if it comes from the right place, just say it. The burden of someone, if anyone's listening, to ask your family or your friends for help is nothing compared to what you're left with when they take their own lives. That burden is something that will never go away for my parents and for me. We wish we were burdened with my granddad saying we're struggling. Oh, what a tough burden. It'd be nothing compared to what actually we were left with.
And the idea of being a burden is a big factor in terms of suicide and suicide risk, and you know, by asking and showing that you care and you want to know and you're interested, and then if someone does say that they're struggling, to not make them feel silly or not make them feel like it's no thing, you know, that's huge.
I wish, I said before, I could have told him that I was proud of him, because I'd never probably said that, because he was my brother. You know, you don't say that to your brother, or that I loved him, which I never said to him, because again, it's something that I think is not normal that in families. But yeah, I wish I could have said that to him.
We strongly believe, had my granddad sought help, they'd still be with us today. I've spoke personally to numerous suicide survivors and how they realised that at that time they didn't see the light, but there is light and life does get better. Ring a charity, ring Samaritans, speak to people who love you, or speak to someone you don't even know, but that's where it starts, and just get the help that you need.
I think it's really important that people could say how they're feeling, and that they won't be judged, they won't be made to feel that they're silly or they shouldn't be thinking like this, and really that they are worthy of the help and support that's available to them.
Don't ever feel alone, that it can't be sorted. It will always be sorted. There's people that love you,